Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast here to make you another cocktail. This week's cocktail is a gin martini, and it is the featured cocktail in today's episode. As always, we'll start with our shaker with ice. To that, we're going to add dry vermouth, because this is a dry martini. 1/4 ounce. Quarter ounce, boys and girls. I'm making sure to get my measurements right this week. 1/4 ounce. Next, 2 ounces of gin. It's a lot of gin for 1/4 ounce of dry vermouth. Just saying. And that's it, boys and girls. And we shake. Or build. We're going to strain into our cocktail glass, martini glass, specifically. Jesus, it's only 2 1/4 ounce liquid. And then we garnish with an olive. It's fine. Dry gin martini. Apparently one of David Bowie's favorites when he drank back in the day. I don't know. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. See ya.
Time passes more quickly as you get older. Even David Bowie can't escape this phenomenon in this week's episode of the Scary Spirits podcast, The Hunger. Even in his vampiric form, he can't fight off the rapid aging. All I can say is, I feel this. Especially when he says, and I'm paraphrasing, I was young, 30 years old, just yesterday. Preach, David. Some days I feel like I'm 30, or even younger. Some days I feel 100. The days I feel 30 or under are definitely better. Cheers!
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, boys and girls. I'm Greg.
Hi, I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different yet highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm feeling good. How are you, Greg?
I'm okay.
Be
Karen.
honest. You're grumpy Grumperson. Just
I'm
throw it
grumpy,
out there.
Karen. I'm grumpy.
Just admit it.
But I'm sure the boys and girls out there don't know that I'm always fucking grumpy, Karen.
Well, we do try to hide it but
maybe they do. I don't know. I try to, but maybe I succeed. Maybe I don't. We'll see. I'm sure Courtney will let us know if I'm grumpy all the time or not.
That's true. It is grass mowing season, so she's
It
probably
is.
out there listening.
She is probably listening. I believe this film was your choice, was it? Was it not, Karen?
It was.
And what film have you chosen for us this week? Pray tell.
I have chosen the 1983 film, The Hunger.
Any reason you chose this film, Karen?
Well, we're entering June, Greg.
Yes, we are.
And June is Pride Month. So we're celebrating Pride.
Okay. We're all about you do you, whatever.
Well, and they do them in this movie.
Yes, they do. Is that the only reason? It's like not David Bowie's birthday or anything?
No, I think it came out at the end of April. So
Okay.
I could stretch it, but no, I chose it for
Came out April
celebration.
29th. But I mean, we're in June already, so
I know.
a month late. All right. Do we have a cocktail to enjoy while we watch this film from 1983?
Yes, we do.
And what would that be, Karen?
Well, it's David Bowie's recipe for a gin
Is it?
martini.
Is
I
it?
don't know. I'm not sure, to be honest. It was.
I mean, all I had to
a-
look up was David Bowie gin martini. It came right up, Karen. So
So I don't know. I don't know
according
if
to the internet,
if he gave this recipe to someone on a talk show or what. It's on a CBS News site. So he likes Bombay Sapphire gin, but you can use any gin.
well, he did.
He did. And he was also an alcoholic. So I know he stopped drinking around 1999. So he must have enjoyed this
Oh,
previous
good for
to
him.
that.
He's better than the rest of us. I'm not a quitter, Karen. Moving on. Go on.
So he didn't seem to specify whether he liked it shaked or stirred. So you could do
Good,
either,
because I shook it.
whichever you prefer. So you're going to take a 1/4 ounce dry vermouth, 2 ounces of Bombay Sapphire gin or the gin of your choice, shake away, pour it into your martini glass and garnish with an olive. Very simple one.
So it's basically 2 shots of gin, right? With
Oh,
a
yeah,
little dry vermouth added. I mean, just
Well,
a
that's what a
touch,
martini
just a
is.
splash.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'm not fancy or I don't know my drinks. I don't know. It's just, okay, whatever. Couple shots of gin with a little dry vermouth and an olive.
Yeah, I put ice in mine because I don't like
I mean, when you
drinks
say a
aren't cold.
martini, so once again, excuse my ignorance, boys and girls, but when someone says, let's have a martini, I'm thinking, ooh, that's fancy. But no, it's really not.
Well, it's kind of sophisticated in that you have to be able to drink basically straight up alcohol.
I got no problem with that, Karen.
I know. So I don't know why you're not drinking these all the time.
I don't like gin, for one thing.
Well, there are vodka martinis.
All right. Karen, should we give our friends and listeners time to make their own dry gin martini?
Shaken or stirred.
Their David Bowie special.
I insist on it.
Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Karen, might you have a brief synopsis for us?
I do.
Go on, tell us all the story.
John is the lover of the gorgeous immortal vampire Miriam, and he's been led to believe that he'll live forever. Unfortunately, he quickly deteriorates into a horrible living death, and Miriam seeks a new companion. She soon sets her sights on Sarah, a lovely young scientist who quickly falls under Miriam's spell. However, Sarah doesn't warm up to the concept of vampirism easily, leading to conflict with Miriam.
Thank you, Karen. We are a match. And that is a pretty good synopsis, but I don't know. I think there was a few words in there that I was like, quickly falls under. Yeah.
Well, and he doesn't, he's been alive for a long time.
I mean,
yeah,
okay,
he does quickly deteriorate, but he's
the
been
key
alive
word
for a
in this
while.
synopsis several times is quickly.
Yes.
All right. Glad we agree. Karen, tell us everything you really enjoyed about this film from 1983. Do you remember 1983, Karen?
Yes, I do.
I'm sure you do.
I don't think I like your tone.
I'm in a mood, Karen. I'm sorry.
I liked the way it was filmed. There's a blue coolness to it, which makes it moody and dark and kind of cold, which I liked. It reminded me of the movie we watched before called The Addiction.
The Addiction?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was
me
shot
too,
in the
Karen.
very same way, but it's artsy, which I kind of liked because it's a little different.
And I believe you picked that film as well, didn't you?
I
Karen?
did. I
Are
did.
you, are you trying to tell us all something, Karen?
The story's kind of interesting. You know, I've never watched a vampire movie where a vampire just starts to deteriorate. I mean, usually they're sick of it and they walk into the sun, or they are killed by a hunter, or, you know, something. But to just all of a sudden start to die, I've not seen that before or since this movie. So that was interesting.
Since this afternoon.
Yes. Well, since I've never seen one.
I know.
The acting's good. I thought the makeup was pretty good as he gets older. It was believable. There's two sides to the flashbacks. Some of them I didn't quite understand, but they did give us a backstory, which I kind of liked. You know, we saw how the vampire couple originated. We saw how she came to be, those kind of things. I like that it filled in some of the story for us. Sequel potential, which I do enjoy. I think that's all I've got. What did you like about it? Anything?
I agree. The acting is very good. I especially noted David Bowie is very good in this film.
Yeah, I kind of wish he was in it longer.
The makeup is very good. I agree.
Well, on that note, not just his makeup, but Miriam's lipstick, that bright red lipstick, is perfection through the whole thing. Never smears or anything, which is amazing. Okay, go ahead.
There are some beautiful shots in it.
There are.
I made a
nice
note.
Scenery too. Inside the apartment's amazing.
It is. I didn't really get what you were talking about the background though. I might have missed that part. I didn't see everything you just talked about.
When he said, you promised me forever and ever.
Yes.
There was a flashback to them.
Yeah.
Back when they met as musicians, and then
he had a ponytail.
Yeah. And then they went to the barn,
but
it shows the time period where they started.
But we don't see we never see how she became.
At the very end, we see her as the Egyptian princess.
Oh, yes. We did. It's true. I didn't put it all together, but yes. Music's pretty good.
Yes, not the 80s music, but the
classical music.
Classical music that they put in is very moody.
Which is most of the film is classical music in the background or playing or whatever. But when we get to what I didn't like, I have things also to say about the music. Because it seemed to change. And maybe that was by design. I don't know.
I liked the clothes. Did you like the clothes? He was in his fedora with the trench coat. That was really cool.
It's not 83 though.
No, it's not. But I think it's
stylish.
Very stylish. Almost 40s. She and him. And I didn't know if that was on purpose.
Almost a noir film in a way.
Yeah.
Kinda.
That's the kind of outfits they had. Exactly. At least the vampires.
Yeah.
So
she wears like a little veil and everything.
Yeah, I wonder if that, they just haven't quite come into the 80s yet. But I like the clothes.
Yeah, they hadn't embraced the neon.
Yes.
That's pretty much all I have for what I enjoyed. I made note of anyway. Anything you didn't especially like?
It's slow.
It is slow.
I wouldn't call it plodding, but it's very slow. And I wouldn't call it plotting because it's very choppy. He does a lot of these montages, and I get it. Things are happening at the same time, but it's choppy,
the correct word, Karen.
It's just very, sometimes they make sense. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's just weird. And it's kind of hard to watch sometimes because it doesn't flow. It's just this assault on your senses. It's like I don't know if it's like in parts of it, it's like a music video. Was MTV new then? You know what I mean? Like
yes, it was, Karen.
That's what it kind of felt like.
Or at least that's what they tell me.
I know I didn't get to see it until much later. But anyway, it's a bit rough on the eyeballs, I would say. when it's not being beautiful, there are a lot of like flowing curtains and all this stuff, which is
Again, looks like a music video.
very, yeah, very pretty. But then there's this harsh choppiness
Or
to
perhaps
it.
music videos look like it. I don't know, but
I don't know. It's one or the other. And the ending didn't make a lot of sense to me. I just didn't, I mean, the ending did, but right before the ending, I didn't quite understand what was happening there.
Okay. Clarify, Karen.
I can't without spoiling it.
Is that all?
That's all. What about you?
Okay, so you commented in the things you liked about it that it was kind of blue hues and things like this, but I noticed there was a weird green tint to it.
Really?
Yeah, like their hair, their blonde hair was kind of greenish.
Oh, it was probably maybe from the filter or something they were using it. I don't
know.
know.
I didn't like it. But it's kind of green tint to
I
it.
didn't notice the green.
I did. You know how like, you're a kid and you got out of the swimming pool and your hair was green. That's what I
Yes.
look like.
Well, I
right?
didn't have blonde
Well,
hair. So.
you didn't. You don't, of course, but me, us and all
Yes.
of us bleach blondes or natural blondes.
You surfer dudes.
I already talked about the music. Classical music is good. Other music, not so much.
Not my direction of music from the 80s.
No,
but
the electronic music is terrible. They should have stuck with I'm sure they were trying to
be of the time.
And I'm sure they're trying to, show how they were classical musicians and this is with the music at the time and, and juxtapose that or whatever, be artsy fartsy as the whole fucking movie is. So I get it, but especially now it doesn't age well, right?
It does not.
Yes. All right. So on to the ending. So I read a little bit about this film and I know that the final scene was added by the movie company, the moving pictures company, because they wanted there to be sequel potential.
Because there wasn't.
Until they added that final scene. And I agree with what I've read a lot of the actors said, including David Bowie and Susan Sarandon, that it ruins it. That final scene.
I mean, if I had a strong opinion, I guess, but I didn't understand the other ending. I still don't understand that ending, but
okay, well,
we can talk about it when we get there. You can tell me, because if we talk about it now, then it's ruined. So if you want to hear Greg's insight on the ending, just stick around.
Yes, or go to Wikipedia. It's there.
Oh, well, okay.
But it's very similar to The Addiction, right? This film is really supposedly about addiction, but it's not so much over your head as The Addiction is. It's not, you know what I mean? In 1983, they thought this film was about addiction.
Oh, see, I thought it was about vampires.
Right. Yeah. And I might as well just say it now that this could be the prequel to The Addiction.
Could.
Because there is a character that is there is a actor who is in both of them. Do you recognize him? He was only in it for like a second. But William Dafoe is in this film.
Where?
When Sarah's in the payphone, he's one of the two dudes taunting her from the outside. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice.
I was thinking, oh my God, if only she had bitten him or something. This could be the prequel to The Addiction. But no. Didn't.
But they didn't in this movie, and I don't think it's a spoiler. It's not something I did or didn't like, although it's different. They didn't have the teeth.
No. We didn't see him anyway.
No, they used
They did.
Onk.
But they did bite each other on the arm, Ken.
That's true, but not.
It's like a hickey.
Yeah.
Really. Do you know what a hickey is, Karen?
I vaguely recall.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So that's all I had about it. I mean, it's artsy. It's
stylized. It's artsy. It is very much.
If you know that going in, I'm sure you like it. I mean, I didn't hate it. I mean, it was interesting. I was stimulated.
Well, hard not to be, I guess. It's a little slow. That's the only thing I would say
It is
about
a
it.
little
But
slow. I
it's
did check the time a couple times.
it's stylish, and I would call it almost empty. I mean, you could have stuck Heart right in that, or who was the other one? Bonnie Tyler or whatever that had those sheets. Well, I don't know, but Heart could have been right
It's not Hart's fault.
in that movie.
I don't
No,
like
I'm
your
just
I don't
saying.
like your tone, Karen.
No, I like but their videos always had that kind of darkness and
I don't think they liked it though.
oh well, I don't know.
Well, I do.
They probably didn't like how they
I
had
like
to
Anne and
dress.
Nancy. No,
But
they didn't like that period in their career at all. They were basically doing what they were told, and
well, nobody likes that.
nope. Made lots of money, though, I'm sure.
Music's pretty good.
It is good, but this isn't the Heart podcast, so I'm not even going to go into it. I could go into it even more, but no, this is not the Heart.
It has nothing to do with
podcast.
that. You probably cut it all out.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
No. I'm glad I've seen it. I've heard a lot about it and I've never seen it. So
All right.
check it off the list.
I haven't heard anything about it. Well, I did recognize the poster though, so when I saw it. All right.
David Bowie's surprisingly good.
He is good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good in everything I've seen him in as an actor.
I think this is the first time I've ever seen him in anything.
Okay.
All right. I'm done interrupting you now. Go ahead.
So before we give our cocktail rating, would you like to hear a review from the time, Karen?
I would. What's in Critics Corner?
First, I have to tell you, as a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb and a 59% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's fairly consistent.
I could not find a Google rating, so I cannot quiz you.
That's too bad.
I know. I could see you were preparing. I could see it in your face. You were.
Like
I could see the wheels spinning.
I was thinking.
The review I have is from Roger Ebert, Karen.
Of course.
5,383. And I'm reading this blind, so I'm just going to read the whole thing, Karen. I've not had time to review it, so excuse me for stumbling over my words. Ready?
Go for it.
The Hunger is an agonizing, bad vampire movie.
Oh.
Circling around an exquisitely effective sex scene. Sorry, but that's the way it is, and your reporter has to be honest. The seduction scene involves Catherine Deneuve as an age-old vampire and Susan Sarandon as her latest victim. There was a great deal of controversy while the movie was being made, all sorts of rumors about closed sets, etc. But the scene as it now appears isn't raunchy or too explicit, just sort of dreamily erotic. I mention the scene so prominently because it's one of the few scenes that really work in The Hunger, a movie that has been so ruthlessly overproduced that it's all flash and style and no story. Well, there's probably a story moping about somewhere within all the set decoration. It seems to involve Deneuve as a vampire of vaguely Egyptian origins, whose latest partner, David Bowie, is giving out on her after 3 or 4 centuries. After an initial orgy of fancy camera work, the movie settles down into the story of Bowie's final days. He has that disease where you age suddenly. He needs a lot of blood to keep going. He appeals to a medical researcher for help, but she brushes him off, Sarandon. And by the time she realizes he's serious, he looks like Methuselah. Then Sarandon visits the lavish townhouse where Deneuve and Bowie lived, and that's where a glass of sherry leads to the seduction scene.
The what scene?
Seduction scene. Now I've got to be honest about this scene. Part of its interest lies in the fact that Catherine Deneuve herself and Susan Sarandon herself are acting in the scene. That gives it a level of reality that would be lacking in a porno film, even a much more explicit one. Because we know that famous actresses don't usually agree to appear in scenes such as this, we're aware of the chances they're taking and the documentary reality of the scene gives it an effectiveness all its own. We're aware of the chances they're taking, and the documentary reality of the scene gives it an effectiveness all its own. Deneuve, of course, has made a career out of the contrast between her cool, perfect beauty and the strange, erotic predicaments her characters get involved in. Sarandon's scene by the window in Atlantic City, bathing herself with lemons, creates great sultriness, but The Hunger approaches its big scene on an altogether different level, with understatement, awkward little pauses in conversation, and a canny awareness of our own curiosity about whether Deneuve and Sarandon really will go ahead with this scene, or whether the director will cut it away to the usual curtains blowing in the wind, which we saw a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he doesn't, but it's about the only time in the whole movie that aren't curtains blowing in the wind.
There is a lot of that.
This movie has so much would-be elegance and visual class that it never quite happens as a dramatic effect. There's so much cross-cutting, so many memories, so many apparent flashbacks that the real drama is lost. The drama of a living human being seduced into vampirism. I agree with that. There's too many of that shit.
Yep.
In Herzog's Nosferatu the Vampire, we felt some of the blood-scent lure of eternal death in life. Here it's just, how would an ad put it? Catherine Deneuve for Dracula. I agree. It's too much of what it's trying to be, I think.
I agree.
It's trying to be artsy, and it is, but it's too artsy. It goes too far. Like, all the shit is lost because there's so much of it, right?
There are a lot of blowing curtains.
Oh yeah, I agree. Like I said, I hadn't read that, but it's funny how Roger and I always agree. All right, what kind of cocktail rating you want to give this film, Karen?
I think it's a 3.
I agree.
I think I probably liked it a little better than he did. I do. I think there is
I think
a story
I liked it
there.
a little better than he did.
I didn't think there wasn't a story. I think it's just a little. I mean, we get no indication.
And it's
that,
maybe because we're sitting here watching it in our home or whatever, and he was in the theater, probably in the first fucking row. But
maybe, or maybe it's a different time to watch it.
yeah, probably is. But I got the whole Egyptian thing. I mean, Ankh is throughout, and I knew what an Ankh was before I saw this film, so I guess that helped. Maybe.
No, I mean, her one companion's dying. She needs to find another one. That's basically the story. And
we didn't really talk about this earlier, but this pretty much like breaks all the vampire tropes, right? They have reflections. They can have their picture taken. They can die.
Mhm.
Apparently, if they
can go
from
out in the
anything,
daylight. Yeah.
Yeah. If they apparently, here's what I got from it, Karen. If they die from anything other than natural causes, they age. That's what I got from it. Although
I don't know why she didn't age and everyone else did. Did she get better blood or something?
I assume because she's like the parent vampire. She's the top of the pyramid and the pyramid scheme.
Nice throwback to Egypt.
Yeah, yes.
Clever.
Wait, I don't really know either, and it's not really explained, but apparently all of her lovers eventually die after a couple centuries. And then she ages rapidly when she dies from an unnatural cause. That's the only thing I could tell.
What's unnatural? She fell down?
It's not natural. I mean, she didn't have a heart attack. She didn't, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I didn't get it. I'm like, that's the part I didn't understand.
It's the same if she'd been hit by a car, she would have died very rapidly right there on the street, probably. That's the feeling I got from it. Why else? I mean, what other explanation is there?
I don't know. That's why I didn't get it.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It breaks all the vampire lore.
Well, except they do feed on blood. That's the only one they keep.
Oh yeah,
and
but
they have to sleep, but not necessarily.
Fangs, apparently.
Right, and they don't have to sleep
cut their
during the day, and they just, you're right. So maybe that's it.
An interesting take, I guess.
Different.
I can't remember if the addiction had all the vampire lore. Did they have reflection and shit like that? I don't remember.
I think eventually she lost her reflection.
That's true. She was looking in the mirror and she was fading. I
Yeah.
remember that now. Okay.
And she was light sensitive, but I don't know.
This and The Addiction are very similar,
Yeah, I agree.
but I think The Addiction is a better film than this.
I agree.
So, boys and girls, if you want to see an artsy vampire film, see The Addiction, especially if you want to see one with William Dafoe. He's in both of these, but
or if you're in grad school, it's especially satisfying.
is it? Is it? Oh,
Yes.
yeah, it is. The end, it is. Yes. I guess it would be. I wasn't in grad school, but you know, when I was given my, if I would have gotten that far, senior recital, you know, up there playing my marimba, and that would have been a gratifying scene.
It's gratifying anyway, but there was something about having just been through graduate school that I felt a kinship to it.
All right. 3 cocktails. Anything else before we get into it? Scene by scene, and spoil it for everyone who is still listening.
Who hasn't left yet. Well, let's just hope Courtney's lawn is big enough that she hasn't left yet.
Well, we're only half hour in. All right, The Hunger from 1983, rated R. I had no other warnings. Did you watch this on Amazon Prime, Karen?
I did.
Did you have any other warnings?
I did not.
I didn't either. And there's shouldn't have been at least smoking.
I know.
Smoking in sexual situations and nudity.
There's drinking. There's all of everything.
All the good stuff. Not a lot of blood though, actually.
No, but there is, there is some.
I wouldn't say there's a lot of violence or gore in it. You know it's happening, but it's not
in your face.
In your face. It's off screen most of the time. Film opens, and the first thing I wrote is, it sounds like we're clubbing, Karen.
It does.
We have credits, and the punk band Bauhaus is playing. And apparently Peter Murphy gets a lot of screen time, I wrote, because I read that he's like the leader of the band, and it's just him the whole time during the credits are playing. Peter Murphy.
Yeah, I said he has what's the band?
Flock of Seagulls.
Yes, his flock of seagulls hair.
But he's a brunette, not a blonde, so it's
and I think he's a punk band too, sort of, or a goth band. I think that Bela Lugosi is dead.
That's the song that's playing.
Is a punk anthem kind of thing.
It is, and I believe I've heard it before.
But he's dancing behind a cage, which means he's in a bar where they throw shit.
Usually,
right?
Yes.
To protect you, you perform in a cage.
Next thing I have is everyone smoking Marlboros. I have that a lot. You'll hear me use the word Marlboro a lot. So
there's some Virginia Slims in there too, I think.
Philip Morris, send us a check. Then apparently it's very choppy, as we already said, but apparently they're taking the party to an apartment.
Yeah, and one of the women who turns out to be Miriam, she's dressed like a stewardess. She's got a little hat, little blue suit on.
And then we see 2 bare breasts.
That way.
And we see 2 bare breasts, Karen. And the next thing I have is apparently we're swinging because they swap partners. Then all of a sudden there's a monkey, Karen, jumping around a cage. All right.
I said, now there's a monkey. I don't care.
Yeah. And then their throats are slit, and then there's blood.
Yeah. So the 2 couples come back to the apartment. They switch partners. One couple goes one way, one couple goes another way, but it ends badly for 2 of the 4 people. Yes. But they're not all in the same room or anything. They're separate.
No.
And in between, there's a monkey freaking out in a cage.
Next thing I have is very artsy. You can tell right now, this is an artsy film. So then monkey's dead, apparently. And we see Sarah. I know her name was Sarah, Susan Sarandon, smoking a Marlboro because she's this scientist watching the monkey. And then we see Miriam and John driving in their limousine, taking bodies from the trunk and burning them.
Yeah, I think there's an incinerator in their basement.
But why are they driving? Why do we have the whole scene of them driving? It's like they're driving someplace to incinerate them, where we later find out that no, it's in their fucking building. They just gotta take them downstairs. So why are they driving? They're just going for a joyride around the block, or
I don't know.
whatever.
You think it's to show that they're well off? I don't know.
Whatever. So then we see Miriam and John taking a shower and they kissy face, and we see two more bare breasts.
And there's blood coming. They're washing the blood off.
So then they're sleeping. We have cuts of them playing cello and harpsichord. I wrote, but I think it's a piano, but it looks like a harpsichord, but it sounds like a piano. Then John gets up and lights a Marlboro. Apparently he can't sleep. Then we see Sarah watching monkey videos, smoking a Marlboro herself. And we keep cutting back and forth to shots of John smoking in curtains. I don't know.
Yeah, he's in curtains, but she's watching the movie, and some guy comes in with Big Macs. So I don't know if that's a McDonald's shout out or
Big
he
Macs?
just happened to
Does
say
he?
it. Yeah. Hands him out.
And then we see Sarah talking about a disease that causes rapid aging. And we cut to Miriam.
Wait, so it's progeria.
Yeah, and she's on the TV talking about it, right? Because
Yeah.
Miriam and John are watching her on the TV.
Because she's written a book about it, but she says a little bit about it, that they start children about 7 or 8 or 9 start aging rapidly and have the features of somebody 70 years or older. So it's a rare genetic condition that causes rapid aging in children. A tiny genetic mutation causes the disease. It causes early death. People with the condition most often only live into their teenage years, average lifespan of 14 years.
I think she says 16.
Some can live into their early 20s. The cause of death is often related to the heart or a stroke. The oldest person with this disease, you want to guess? This was from 2023.
29.
45 years old as of 2023. And her name's Tiffany, and she lives in Columbus, Ohio.
Well, good for her.
Males are more frequently affected than females, and the intellect of the affected children is unimpaired. So you are dealing with it.
As a 7-year-old, or 8 or 9.
Well, I don't know if you'd know you were aging. Tell you what, when he's aging, I feel his pain. It's like, that's what I feel like. Every time I look in the mirror, I think, Jesus Christ, I'm older than I was yesterday. It starts to happen fast at a certain point.
Well, you're much older than me, Karen.
I am, so get ready.
So you tell me every time I run my fingers through my hair, I'm going to come out with a handful of hair eventually?
That's what I do.
Hello, boys and girls. Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast. Karen and I really have a great time putting these episodes together. If you enjoy what you hear, please consider taking the time to leave a review wherever you listen. Reviews really help independent podcasts find listeners. The more listeners we have, the easier it is for people to find us. Now, back to the show.
All right, so then Alice arrives. She rings the doorbell. She takes a Polaroid of John. She says he looks terrible. You look terrible.
She's a feisty, like 14-year-old, I'd say. Would you think about that age?
Yeah, 14, 15, something like that.
But she's a little spicy. Got a mouth on her, but...
And she takes a photo of Miriam as well. And then we see Miriam playing piano, John playing cello, and Alice is playing violin. Apparently they're giving her lessons, classical music lessons or something. John stops playing. Oh, I have to say this. Their fake playing was very good throughout this.
Oh, do you think they were fake playing?
Yes, I think they were fake playing, but it was good.
Yeah, because I was like, ooh, can David Bowie play the cello?
No, but he was good faking it.
He was.
He was very good. And so was Alice. Didn't really get shot of Miriam.
Well, you can always hide the hands.
Yeah.
On the piano.
But they were both very good faking. But I don't, maybe David Bowie played, maybe he was in the Suzuki method as a kid playing cello. I don't know. And maybe she was as well, but it was very good.
It was convincing. I thought they both were playing. So
they weren't, but it was good.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't know.
So, and then Alice says, well, she has some Quaaludes if he needs them to.
Yeah, because he stops playing and Miriam says he's having trouble sleeping. And she's like, well, I got ludes. Quaaludes I stole from my stepmom in her case with her violin.
Yes. So then John looks at the Polaroid and he don't look too good, Karen. Then he looks at himself in the mirror.
He's seeing all the lines on his face.
So we see Miriam buying Sarah's book, and then she goes to a book signing.
I think it's just upstairs because it's on closed circuit TV in the bookstore, I think.
Okay.
But anyway.
But
she uses her mojo on her.
Miriam says, I'd like to speak to you. And Sarah says, I would like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Then she just leaves.
Then she just leaves. So then we see Miriam arriving at the hospital. She's there to see Dr. Sarah, but she talks to one of her co-workers smoking a Marlboro in the hospital. Next thing I have is back in the apartment. John tells Miriam that his hair is falling out, and he asks her how long it will take. Like, he knows. He knows what's coming.
Yeah, and so does she, because apparently she's had past relationships where this happened.
And she doesn't remember. It's been so long. She doesn't remember how long it takes. It's been a couple 100 years. Can't remember that shit.
They're talking about blood type and aging when they're in the research center. And they're talking about whether sleep affects how you age. That's their main talking points.
That's what her book is about, actually,
yes.
I think. But she doesn't remember how long it takes. Apparently, this has happened many times. Miriam tells John that she knows what's happening. She has been through it many times, and she prayed that it wouldn't happen to him. I thought that was interesting that she prayed. Don't remember vampires praying a lot.
Well, she doesn't want to lose him. And she always had hope that it wouldn't happen.
And John has asked her who she has chosen to be her next partner, because he knows she's already got her eye on someone, because she knows this was coming, right? At some point, and
for some reason, she cannot possibly be alone. Yeah, he thinks it's going to be Alice. Would you want to hang with a 15-year-old for 100 years? I would not. Having a 17-year-old here now. True that.
And then we have like a book breaking through a window with broken glass. I don't know.
I think weird. He threw the book.
Artsy. I don't know. It's very artsy. Next thing I have is JVC has a lot of product placement in this film, because every taxi cab has a JVC ad on it. Then we see John at the clinic. He goes there to see Sarah.
Yeah, this is where you see him in his trench coat and fedora and sunglasses. And I thought he looked really good. I mean, good. The style is good.
Like, she sees his reflection in the mirror of her compact, which I made a note of, because once again, all the vampire tropes are broken.
But when he's walking past all the monkeys, so he's in the research center.
Yeah.
I was like, they would never let him in the research center. That's not allowed. You know, lay people aren't allowed to go in the research area. And then she says, how did you get in here? You're not allowed in here. So it's like, at first I was all, they would never. Oh, wait, now she tells him he's not supposed to be in there.
But John explains that he is rapidly aging.
Wait, did I ever tell you that I never did research on monkeys or any animals, really? But I had to, the postdoc in the lab where I was getting my PhD broke his arm, and he was using rabbit blood for his research. So I did have to go down and
draw blood from
a rabbit. And we walk in the door, and I was very nervous, as you would expect, right? I said, I am not the person.
Why would you be?
I am not the person you want to do this. Why? You can do it. I said, no.
Yeah, there's needles.
I am not the person that you want to come down. I said, you are going to have more trouble on your hands. But we walk in the room, and I said, those aren't rabbits. Those are dogs. Huge albino rabbits, huge rabbits in these cages. And then you pull them out, and you have to put a butterfly needle into its ear. Like, there's a big vein on its ear, and you have to put it, which I did it. But the whole time I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I got it in there, and it was traumatizing, but I did it. I can't imagine working with
probably
monkeys.
Worse for you than the rabbit.
Probably. Well, I don't know, but hopefully, because I really didn't want to do it. Anyway, there's a bunch of monkeys in there.
So he explains he's rapidly aging. He says, yesterday I was 30 years old. Today I have liver spots, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And didn't you feel that?
No,
yesterday I was spots. Yesterday I was 30 years old. Now I have liver spots.
Oh, shit, Karen, yesterday I was 21. Oh, what you're
You
talking
don't have
about.
any, I have two liver spots on my hand.
I don't even know
So
what they are.
they're the brown spots on your hand. Liver spots are flat brown or black spots that appear on areas of skin that are exposed to the sun. They have nothing to do with the liver or liver function.
I was about to say, why do they call them liver spots then?
I don't know. They're called age spots or freckles, and they're a result of
Well, I have
cumulative
lots of
damage
freckles.
to the skin by sunlight.
I have no liver spots though.
I bet you do. When you get to this, when you're
A little
of a
larger
certain age,
freckle.
you start to get freckles on your hands, which you
I've
didn't
always
have
had
before.
freckles.
Okay. Greg does not have any signs of aging, people, just so you know. He wants to make that extremely clear. I, on the other hand, have many. And I felt when David Bowie said, I was 30 yesterday. Now look at me.
So Sarah asks him to wait for her while she goes to a meeting. She says it'll only be 15 minutes.
Yeah, I thought she was being nice.
No, she wasn't. She thought he was a nut, but whatever. So then we see Sarah calling security. She tells them that she thinks John will just get bored and leave.
Yeah, she says be nice to him, but he's a nut.
But he doesn't just get bored and leave. He sits there for like 2 hours.
He's lost in thought.
Then we see Sarah and her colleagues looking at the monkeys while Sarah smokes a Marlboro. And the monkey is aging at approximately 5 years per minute. And we cut to John in the lobby, aging as well. It's kind of a nice juxtaposition of them.
That's one of the
Aging
few times
monkey and John.
where the choppiness kind of worked.
Yeah. So then the monkey dies and rapidly decays and turns into a skeleton. Like crazy fast.
So that's the decomposition happens lightning fast. So as soon as blood circulation and respiration stop, the body has no way of getting oxygen or removing wastes. So excess carbon dioxide causes an acidic environment, causing membranes in the cells to rupture. The membranes release enzymes that begin eating the cells from the inside out. Cells eventually die and the body loses its capacity to fight off bacteria. The cell's own enzymes and bacterial activity cause the body to decompose. So when you die, you basically eat yourself from the inside out.
Yeah, implode. So then next thing I have is John don't look so good.
Nope.
John leaves the waiting area.
He lit up in the waiting
did.
area, and the woman said, "You can't smoke in here." So he
But everyone else is.
Well, and he puts his cigarette into an ashtray.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why is there an ashtray there? Ashtrays used to be everywhere, people. Everywhere.
Grocery store. Everywhere.
Everywhere there's cup holders now. There were ashtrays before.
True. Yeah, there were. So then we see Sarah and Tom, Dr. Tom, I guess he's a doctor, I don't know, walking the halls. And of course, Sarah wants to get funding.
Yes, you're always looking for funding.
Then we see John looking in a mirror. He looks to be about 80 now. He's in the bathroom and there's another dude next to him there. And he begins to like slit his throat, but he's interrupted. So then he leaves.
Just so again, what they're using to slit throats is they're wearing a necklace and it's the ankh. And they pull it apart and there's a small.
It's an ankh with a knife.
Yeah.
Like the ankh is the handle and there's a knife and there's a sheath and they pull it off.
Yes. So those of you who don't know what an ankh is, it is the ancient Egyptian symbol, which symbolizes, that's nice, the many aspects of life, including physical life, eternal life, immortality, death, and reincarnation. The symbol is a teardrop shaped hoop with a cross connected directly below it to represent the sun making its path upward and over the horizon. It's a very common Egyptian symbol. I'm sure you've all seen it. But he doesn't get his meal because someone comes out of another stall as he was about to take someone out.
Then we see him in a crowded elevator and apparently he hears everyone's heartbeat.
Yes, he's very hungry, it appears.
So then as John is leaving, he sees Sarah and he tells her she failed him.
He gives her what for?
Oh, yeah, he does. Like, you told me 15 minutes. Look at me. Look at me now, bitch. And she notices he is much older and she tries to stop him.
She does.
Tells him not to leave. You can't leave, but he refuses. He leaves. Fuck you. I'm out of here. I'm going to go die. You had your chance, scientist. So then we see a guy skating I don't know, roller skating, disco skating, and John comes up, slits his
For a
throat,
long
and
time,
runs
he's
away.
skating, but
Yeah.
he's becoming so old, he can't get across the street fast enough. Cars are honking at him because he can't move fast enough. And there's this guy with a wonderful mullet
Yeah, he believes
skating.
that if he feeds, it might rejuvenate him a little bit.
Well, it would help, I'm
which-
sure. And he's hungry, but he doesn't have the strength to take this kid down. He's probably young kid, 18 to 20, something like that, doing his disco roller skating.
But he slits him and then he runs away. Like did he miss? I couldn't.
Either he missed or he couldn't hold him down.
Okay. So then we come back to the apartment. Alice ringing the doorbell. John's the only one there, but she explains that she cannot come to her lesson the next day.
But she doesn't know it's him. He acts like it's not him.
Because he sounds different because he's older.
And and he looks older too, way older.
And she
That's
asks
how I look to you, because he's way older now.
Yes. She asks if she can leave a note. John agrees to let her in. He's very old now. Alice asks if he is John's father. And he says, no, he's just a friend. But Alice says he has the same eyes as John.
Yeah, because Bowie had very distinctive eyes.
So Alice leaves a note, puts it in a statue, and then she takes a Polaroid of it. So then John asks Alice to play, I guess. Alice tells John that John is hard to figure out. So it's confusing because she's talking to him about him.
Yeah, and he's trying to, what, you don't like John? And she's like, no, I love John. He just is harder to figure out than Miriam.
Yeah. So right here I wrote, Alice plays the violin very well.
And he's listening, and I said, is he going to kill her?
But as she is playing, John slits her throat, grabs her, and feeds.
Now, do you think he did it just because he was hungry or to take her away from Miriam? Is there a little spite there, or did he know he could take her because she was a small child?
Well,
doesn't seem
it was a crime of opportunity, is what I would say.
Okay.
Like he wasn't going to go looking for her.
No, but he could have let her go.
Since she came, right? Since she's there.
I just wondered, I thought it was maybe more sinister that he took her out because she was next.
Maybe.
Or he thought anyway.
But he wasn't going to take her out beforehand. Like it wasn't premeditated.
No.
So then Miriam arrives home. She finds John sitting in the dark. He's even older. John asks Miriam to kiss him like he was. Miriam begins to kiss him, but then says she can't. And John asks to be killed. Just kill me.
Yeah, it's reasonable. He's like, just kill me, And
then Miriam finds the Polaroid that was taken when Alice dropped the camera as John was attacking her. We never see what exactly the picture is, but
what did you do?
Apparently it reveals everything. So then we see Miriam at the furnace. Guess she's looking at the ashes of Alice. I don't know. Didn't really explain it. And John asks again to be killed. She said she can't do it.
I don't know why she didn't just do it. She could have burned him right there.
So then John falls down the stairs and Miriam picks him up and takes him all the way back upstairs.
Yeah, like 4 flights.
In an elevator and places him in a casket.
She says he says, release me. And she says, there is no release. There's no rest, no letting go.
Like you said, she could have thrown him into the furnace.
Well, yeah, because she said for humans, their end is final. Ours is not. We stay in eternal darkness and see and hear and feel. And I'm like, why doesn't she just burn him right there? But no.
I said, he's obviously still alive. She seals him in and places him with the others. A lot of coffins there, I wrote.
All her exes. Can you
Miriam
imagine?
calls them all her lovers.
Can you imagine having all your exes in the attic? That would be horrible.
Would it?
They're all alive.
Oh, yeah, that would be horrible.
Eventually they're going to crawl their way out and do something horrible. So it looks like an attic.
Well, I don't have a lot, Karen.
All of the people you dated, not just the people you married, Greg.
Still, not a lot.
It's a bunch of pigeons. It's like open to the outside somehow. Or she raises pigeons. I don't know. Like carrier pigeons or something, but they're all up there. before she puts him in that box, she lays him down in the circle of light. And I'm like, is she going to fry him? But no, because they can walk in the light. And she does like a little ritual. Then she puts him, and then she introduces them to the others because I guess they're still alive. And she's like, be kind to him. And I said, well, that's horrible. And someone's at the door.
Yeah. Doorbell. It's Sarah. Oh, hello. Miriam lets her in.
She's looking for John.
Yeah, Miriam tells Sarah that John has gone to Switzerland and he is not there. And Sarah gives Miriam her number. Please call me if you were, let me know his condition, how he's, whatever. Then the police arrive. Lieutenant
At the same time, almost as Sarah leaves.
Lieutenant enters and he begins asking about Alice. She is missing. She never came home the night before. And then Sarah is almost hit by a semi.
But somehow Miriam knows it. And then protects her somehow. I don't know. It was weird. Again, choppiness.
And then we see Sarah taking a shower.
She hears the phone ringing, but I guess it's not ringing.
And we see Marion's reflection in a mirror, ? I wrote.
Yeah, she thinks she sees Miriam and then she doesn't. I don't know.
Then I have Miriam and Sarah crying montage.
Yes. Sarah's asleep and Miriam's playing something on the piano and they're both tearing up.
Next day at the hospital, Sarah picks up the phone even though it doesn't ring. Her colleague says it didn't ring. Sarah's smoking a Marlboro again. So then Sarah goes to see Miriam, asks about John. Miriam invites her in.
Sarah's impressed with all the stuff. She's like, this is real, isn't it? Yes, it's 2,000 years old.
Yes, and Miriam offers her sherry, and she says she doesn't like sherry, but Miriam says, oh, you'll like this one. And apparently she does, because we see her drinking it the rest of the time. And Sarah's looking around the department at all the old art. Miriam plays the piano, and they seem to make a connection, Karen.
Yes, they're talking about music and the art, and then she starts playing a song that's a love song about two women.
And Sarah comments on the Egyptian Ankh pendant. Miriam tells her is the symbol of everlasting life. And then, oops, Sarah spills some sherry on her t-shirt.
It looked a little bit deliberate.
She tries to wipe it off, but she can't, so Miriam takes a comfortable seat and watches as Sarah takes her shirt off.
I think she's got another one for her to wear, but we don't really see it because they go right up to the bedroom.
Well, I wrote she gives her a towel, but it could have been a shirt. I don't know. And they
maybe it
face.
was a towel. Yeah, I don't
know. They kissy face, and then we see one bare breast. Then we see two bare breasts, Karen. And I made a note that Miriam has a reflection in the mirror because I can't get over that shit. And then I wrote they share a moment.
A montage. They share a montage.
And Miriam bites Sarah on the arm. I think Sarah bites her as well.
Yeah, they do.
Two more bare breasts. Blood.
Exchanged.
Yes. Then we cut to Sarah and Tom having dinner at a restaurant. And we cut to her cutting into a raw steak. That's what we cut into, right?
A rare steak, dinner. Yeah,
rare steak. And she smokes a Marlboro, of course. Tom finds it odd that she's ordered her steak rare, and asks about the necklace she is wearing. And Sarah tells him it was given to her by Miriam. And he's like, you were with this girl for 3 hours and she gave you a necklace? He kind of questions.
He's got all kinds of questions for her. And she's watching women swim in the pool and she thinks they're naked, but they actually have swimsuits on. So she's hallucinating.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't know exactly what was going on there. One man.
I didn't know the pool was there until
I thought it was in all in her head.
I did too. She's distracted. And then I
thought she was having flashbacks. They're her and Miriam.
Like, there's actually a pool there. Okay.
It was weird. Tom questions her about what happened. She hates Sherry.
He's pretty insistent about.
She was there 3.5 hours.
He wants to know what she talked about. He's suspicious. And he keeps saying you should see a doctor. She didn't look that bad to me, but I don't know.
So then later that night, we see Sarah puking in the toilet.
Yep.
Tom comes to comfort her. Next day, I guess we see Sarah and her team. I think they're looking into her blood, I guess.
Yes.
She has two different kinds of blood in her bloodstream, and they are fighting. One of the strains is not human, Karen.
Fighting for dominance.
She smokes Marlboro, as you do.
When two types of blood are fighting for dominance in your body, whip out the Marlboro.
That's right. And then they see the bite mark on her arm. And she says she does not know where she got it. I don't know.
Never seen that before.
And Sarah asks which of the blood strains is winning.
Good question.
So then Sarah confronts Miriam. Miriam tells her there's nothing to be afraid of. Just trust her.
Do you ever trust anyone who says, trust me?
No. No, I wouldn't trust myself if I said to myself in the mirror, trust me. Miriam says she has given Sarah everlasting life. The blood in her veins is her spirit. They struggle, but apparently Miriam is very strong, Karen.
That's the only other vampire thing they kept.
That is it. Then Miriam tells Sarah that she drew her blood and then Sarah drew hers. Miriam tells her she will be back because she will need to feed and she will need to be shown how. Sarah says she's crazy and leaves. Then we see Sarah trying to get a cab, gets in the phone booth and calls Tom, but she is told he has gone home.
She can't find him. She tried to call home and he wasn't there. She tried the office. He's not there. I thought maybe Miriam killed him, but no.
And this is where we see William Dafoe. Yeah, if he would have been the first victim, the addiction could have been a sequel to this. But anyway, then we see Miriam telling Sarah she will bring someone to feed her hunger. Bring her someone. And next I have Tom calling a doctor, question mark.
Yeah, because Sarah was, when she went to see Miriam to confront her, she was supposed to be at a doctor's appointment. She says that when she walks in.
Okay.
She was supposed to be at a blood specialist appointment.
So then Miriam brings the guy home and tells him to make a drink. She goes to see Sarah and she don't look so good.
Sarah looks terrible.
Worse than Susan Sarandon usually looks. Here I made a note, 20 minutes left. This is the second time, more or less, that I checked the clock. I didn't make a note the first time, but this is the second time. So the guy takes the elevator upstairs. Miriam slashes his throat and calls to Sarah. And then we cut real quick. Like we see a real quick scene of a bloody dude, and it's so quick, doesn't even count, really. Cut, and we see Tom rings the doorbell looking for Sarah. And Miriam lets him in. Miriam tells Tom she is upstairs. She's on the second floor, but she is not well. Tom goes to see her. Tom confronts Sarah. They kissy face, but then Sarah pushes him away and tells him to get out, and they struggle.
Yeah, because she doesn't want to hurt him, but
no, she doesn't. But then Sarah pulls the sheath from the ankh and slashes him, and he gone. Next thing I have is weird flashback question mark. I don't know what it is.
I think that's where the princess thing is, right?
The Egyptian princess thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so too. But
She's
that's
wearing the Egyptian, like
that's Miriam. That's not Sarah. So why are we seeing Miriam in the flashback?
Well, because while Sarah's up there taking care of Tom, Miriam's downstairs. The chandelier is shaking and the house is kind of, so Miriam knows that is Sarah's first kill. So she's thinking back to her first one, and she's the Egyptian queen or
so it's a
princess.
Flashback to Miriam, not a flashback to Sarah's flashback.
Yes.
All right, whatever. It's too choppy.
And it was so quick. I could have used a little more of that. Like, oh, what happened? How did she become the vampire? But
right.
It is very quick.
Very. Like less than a second quick.
Blink and you miss it.
Yeah. So watch this film with your eyes wide open, boys and girls. So then we see Miriam playing the piano. Sarah enters, blood dripping from her mouth.
She looks satiated. Tom is no longer.
Miriam tells Sarah she will be young forever. She tells her that they are damned to live forever. After a while, she will love her as she loves her. They kissy face, and we hear forever and ever. That's her promise always. He's always promising forever and ever. But then Sarah takes the ankh and stabs herself in the jugular.
Yeah, but I couldn't tell who she stabbed for
I
a
couldn't
minute.
either at first.
There was a little bit of a struggle. I was like, who's going down?
Miriam tells Sarah to stay with her, but Sarah says she can't. So then Miriam carries Sarah's body upstairs to the room with all the coffins, and there's
To the pigeon
rumbling.
room.
Yeah, and it's like there's a fucking earthquake going on, and doves flying everywhere. It's like when doves cry or something.
Oh, were they doves or pigeons? I thought they were pigeons. They might have been
They're
doves.
white. They're
Yeah,
white
I bet
birds.
you're
They're
right. They're
doves.
probably doves.
When doves cry, Karen.
Yeah.
So then we got zombies, Karen.
Yeah. Pissed off zombies.
All your
I
ex-lovers
think
coming
John
after you
had
as zombies.
John had a meeting.
Can you imagine, Karen? All of your ex-lovers coming after you as zombies.
Wow, that's crazy.
I could probably take mine out with one swoop. By the
Just all the
sword.
way across. All the heads come off at once.
Hell, there's only 4 or 5 of them. Fuck. So
You could do it.
then all Marion's former lovers converge on her, and she tells them she loves them, but she is also repulsed by them, right?
Well, she's fighting them off.
Well, they're fucking ancient too, Karen.
Yeah. I said
they-
she's outlived a lot of people vampires. There's like 10 of them or something.
Yeah. And they kind of push her to the stairs, and they kind of force her to fall down I don't know what that part is in between the spiral staircase.
I don't know.
But it's really cool when you get up to the top and look down.
Yeah.
I always think about it.
They're good shadow work too.
She falls down the stairs. She lands.
No, between the stairs.
Between
you
the
said.
stairs, yeah. Then when she lands, she begins convulsing, ? I wrote. I don't know. And then she ages rapidly, which led me to the point where, if you die an unnatural death, that's when you die. If you're a vampire in this world, right?
Yeah, but why did David Bowie die?
I don't know. Why did other old lovers die? I don't know either. I don't know. Maybe they have a 200-year life expectancy. I don't know. But anyway, then all the mummies collapse and fall and turn to dust. Miriam does as well. She gone. Then we cut to the lieutenant arriving again, finds a real estate agent there handling the sale of the house. He explains that the owners are deceased and it's an estate sale or whatever.
So was that the original end right there? Or was it when she just disintegrated?
Lieutenant finds a Polaroid of Miriam in a pile of trash that has been swept up. That is the original ending.
Okay.
Which would have been better, I think. But next, we cut to Sarah with a girl and a guy in some apartment, and Sarah kisses the girl, and Sarah on the balcony, and there's shots of a coffin with screams coming from it, and we pan out from the balcony and see a cityscape. Apparently it's London, but I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know where it was.
And then
I knew it wasn't New York.
And then the end.
But she's screaming, Sarah. She's screaming. Miriam is we assume it's Miriam in the box screaming for Sarah. She's screaming Sarah.
Did you understand she was saying Sarah?
Well, I had my, what do you call it when the
Spidey sense?
No, when it's written at the bottom.
Oh, the closed captioning?
Closed captioning said Sarah.
Oh, did it? Well, I couldn't understand it. I didn't hear Sarah, but I knew that's supposedly what she was screaming.
Yeah, well, that's what it said at the bottom.
Okay. The end.
Interesting. That's what I would call this film. Very artsy. Very artsy.
Very artsy. It would have been better without that final scene, though. I agree with all the actors who had comment on it. The diction's better, but I mean, this is fine. All right, Karen, are we ready to move on to the next film?
Well, it's your choice. What have you chosen?
Is it my choice already? Again?
Surprising, I know, but
film I have chosen is from 1939, Karen. Do you remember 1939?
Yes, vividly, Greg.
It's called Son of Frankenstein. And it is not a Hammer film. It's a Universal film.
Really?
Shocking.
I know. Why did you pick that?
Why did I pick that? Because Sir Basil Rathbone's birthday is June 13th, and our next episode comes out June 12th. And he stars in The Son of Frankenstein, Karen.
See the one that whenever he's in it, they're comedies. Is this the comedy kind of thing?
all the ones we have done, he is in it. They are comedies, but I don't think this is. I don't know,
Okay.
though. I haven't seen it. Well, I don't think I've seen it. I may have once I start watching it, but I have a cocktail as well, Karen. In case
As you
you're
should. What is
interested.
it?
It's a Brandy Alexander.
Oh, I've heard of it. What is it?
Glad you asked, Karen.
You're going to
It's-
need brandy and Alexander's.
You're going to need 1 ounce of brandy, 1 ounce of dark cream de cacao,
Ooh, I don't think I have that.
or 1 ounce light. I don't give a shit. 1 ounce cream and freshly grated nutmeg for garnish. Sounds delicious.
Sounds fall-like.
Well, Karen, I'm an autumn. Don't
Oh,
you know
that's
that?
true. I think you've brought that up before.
So we're going to pour the brandy, cream to cacao, and cream in a cocktail shaker. Shake well, strain into a chilled cocktail glass, and then garnish with a dusting of nutmeg.
Sounds like a drink you would like.
Yes, I know. Well, I don't know about the brandy. We'll see. I have a bottle
Brandy
of
in
brandy.
didn't you put it in eggnog? Didn't we put it in
Oh,
eggnog at
did
one
I?
point?
Did we? I don't know.
Maybe we did.
I probably enjoyed it then.
It's commonly used in eggnog, so I don't
Well,
know.
I'm sure I did then. So, yeah, I'm sure it'll be delicious. All right, Karen, you need to thank anyone this week?
Well, I'd like to thank our listener. You know why? Because there are a lot of podcasts out there. So we really appreciate you spending time with us. What about you, Greg? Who do you need to thank?
Karen, I want to thank the great people of the city of London.
Wow.
Apparently, we're very popular in London because that's one of our top cities when I look at
Nice.
our stats.
We're intercontinental.
So, thank you. Thank you, Londoners.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And the band Verse 13 for providing all the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
The music definitely makes the podcast better.
Yeah, go to their website in our show notes and download their music and listen to it. It help you sleep at night.
It'll creep you out, that's for sure.
Or help you sleep at night.
Exactly.
All right. Anything else, Karen?
Happy Pride, and please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening. Want to keep in touch? Check out our website, scaryspirits.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. Find us on YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. To help us grow the podcast, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You know, we really do appreciate your support. And as always, please drink responsibly.